This podcast was submitted as an assessment for a Sports Science Outdoor Activities degree at Bangor University. It is aimed at people who have received first aid training and would like to see the skills applied to some common kayaking injuries. It will cover what to do if you find someone unconscious, how to deal with someone who has drowned, and a simple way of bracing a dislocated arm. On spotting the casualty, check for danger to yourself or your group and any clues as to what has happened. Check that the person is not just asleep and send for help. Remember to tell the person to come back once they have done this. Ensure that you put gloves on to avoid transferring disease or infecting any wounds. Assess their level of consciousness by speaking to them, gently shaking them and pinching their ear and looking for a response. If there is no response, the casualty is unconscious. Check the airway for obstructions and ensure it is left open. Next, check for breathing. Look, listen and feel for at least 10 seconds. If breathing is weak or you are struggling to tell, place a hand on their tummy as this moves clearly if they are breathing. If the casualty is breathing, begin a head-to-toe examination. Start at the head. You're feeling for any abnormal lumps, bumps or bleeding. Feel the skull for injury and lumps and check ears for blood or yellowish fluid. Work down to the shoulders and remember to check for medical tags. Move down the arms, feeling for any breaks or abnormalities. It is a good idea to talk yourself through this process, as it helps you to keep track of what you are doing. Kayakers tend to have several layers on to keep warm, so be firm to feel through all the layers for any damage. Remember to check wrists for medical tags too. It is a good idea to check in their buoyancy aid for any medical information. If possible, check the sternum and ribs, but don't remove their buoyancy aid if you cannot reach them. Feel the stomach and under their back if possible, and move on to their pelvis. You are still looking for anything out of the ordinary. If the casualty is wearing a dry suit, you can tell if there are any large bleeds, as the blood tends to pool in the material. Work down the legs without missing the kneecaps and ankles, looking and feeling for any breaks and bleeds. See if the legs lie at the same length, as this can help you to know if there's something wrong with their pelvis. Once you have completed the head to toe, go back and check their breathing. If the casualty is in a position with an open airway, there's no need to move them. Monitor their breathing and condition until help arrives. To recap, check for danger to yourself. Assess the casualty's level of consciousness. Check the airway and check for breathing for about 10 seconds. Begin a head-to-toe examination. Reassess the airway and breathing, and monitor their condition until help arrives. Assess danger to yourself and send for help. Extract the casualty from the water. If they are face down, turn them over using buoyancy aid straps, keeping the head secure between your arms. Check the airway and for breathing. Again, this should be for at least 10 seconds. In this case, the casualty is not breathing. Ensure the airway is fully open and give 5 rescue breaths. You should see the chest rise and fall when doing this. If the casualty is still not breathing, begin CPR with a ratio of 30 compressions to 2 breaths. When doing the compressions, there is no need to remove the buoyancy aid. perhaps just remove the knife from their pocket if they have one. Continue CPR either until the casualty begins breathing, help arrives, you or your group are in danger, or you are too tired to continue. To recap, assess the situation for danger. Remove the casualty from the water. Check their airway and check for breathing. Give 5 rescue breaths and begin CPR with 30 compressions to 2 breaths. Continue until help arrives, you are in danger, or you are too tired to continue. Assess the situation and send for help. You must not try and relocate the arm yourself, as this can cause serious and permanent damage. Stabilise the situation, get the casualty to a safe place, and calm them down to avoid shock. Ask them what has happened and where it feels most comfortable. Use any spare clothing you have to pad out the area and to give the arm support in the most comfortable position. Then secure it with a bandage. It is a good idea to talk to the casualty calmly throughout the process, as it helps them to feel that you are in control and they know what is going to happen. Use a bandage to create a sling from the wrist around the neck. Ensure that you tie it so that it is providing support. Check that it isn't too tight by asking the casualty. To recap, get the casualty to a safe place and find out what has happened. Send for help. Immobilise the arm in the most comfortable position and monitor the condition until help arrives, looking out for signs of shock.